Most embarrassing story moment in an international competition. So I'm 15. We were in Mallorca for training camp. In between the kind of the warm-up pool and like one of the other pools that was usually a competition pool, there's really like big glass walls, like really glass, like really, really clean. Like really clean.
Hey everyone, wanted to take 1 minute to talk to you again about how incredible our Edge Theory cold tub is. There has been so much research over the past several years about the amazing benefits of cold immersion, and there is no better place to do it than your Edge Theory tub. It makes it so easy, so convenient, and you get all the incredible benefits of cold immersion, which include increasing your energy, boosting your metabolism, and enhancing your mental health. The cold stimulus activates natural mood boosters like endorphins and dopamine by up to 250%. Not to mention, it can also help improve your sleep by reducing your nighttime cortisol and reduce your muscle soreness and strengthen immune function. As you guys both know, Katie and I still train really hard. Working out is a big part of keeping our mental health and our physical health strong. So our Edge Theory cold tubs are so amazing in helping us do that. We have a code for you guys. It is updated, so make sure you use this one, Unfiltered Waters 24 for $250 off your own Edge Theory cold tub.
All right, everyone, welcome back to Unfiltered Waters, episode 2 for our solo episodes.
I get so excited to do these with you.
So fun. So fun. This is a special one. You guys are in for a real treat.
So this was Katie's idea, which I loved. When we were brainstorming ideas, she was like, we should create a fishbowl and put questions that we compile that we have for each other, that we get from our amazing audience, you guys, from our husbands, from our friends, and we can pull them out of the fishbowl. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Who's going to make the fishbowl?
And if you guys don't know us well enough yet, Missy is definitely the more creative one in the relationship. It's just not a strength of mine, but I was worried because Missy was at a wedding. I'm like, oh, I feel so bad. I don't know if she did the fishbowl. I don't want to ask her about it. So I'm going to take matters into my own hands and I'm going to get a fishbowl. And
which I so appreciate, by the way. Like, can we just assess the thoughtfulness of that?
Thank you.
I mean, number one partner of the year award.
Yeah.
I had done the fishbowl already. So I, again, so appreciate it. So now we have 2 and we're going to show them. So if you're not watching, we will also do our best to describe them for our listeners. But Katie, if you would like to share your fishbowl, please.
So this is the grand reveal. Also, let me tell you, like, part of why we wanted to do this was like, you know, we talk about some deep stuff, we go into it, but we wanted to just have some fun and laugh and just share some great stories. So that's part of why we're doing this, but I'm trying to like belabor the not getting the fishbowl. All right, here's my fishbowl.
I think it is so cute. Okay, I'm gonna describe yours because I love it.
All right.
So Katie's fishbowl it's very authentic.
Yep.
A clear glass fishbowl.
Yep.
It has a layer of beautiful blue stones on the bottom, and she even put like the fake coral, like little fake coral standing up in it. So like it could house a fish. Like that is a very realistic. I love it. I think it's thoughtful. I think we should get a fish and we can have an Unfiltered Waters podcast pet.
I think you're being way too overly generous, but let's get yours and then we'll talk further.
Okay, well, let's also start with the fact that I love Michael's. I spend a lot of my time at Michael's. Yeah. So I feel like I have somewhat of an unfair advantage here. But
drum roll, please. This is Missy's overly superior fishbowl, as you can see, and my husband Todd loved her version. And let me just say that this is like, you know, I don't have kids yet, but this is what I would imagine, like she's the kid where her parents jumped in and developed this insanely nice fishbowl, and I just was on my own and came in with this. So I give myself a D. I give Missy an A+.
Absolutely not. I took a little bit of a different approach. I made it more Unfiltered Waters themed. So I've got some pretty stones in the bottom, and I did Unfiltered Waters written in letters on the front. There's some bedazzlement going on, and you just different approaches. You know what? And they're both great. Okay.
Thanks. I feel like you're just trying to make me feel better. But anyways, we're going to put this one down and we're going to carry on.
For the sake of the podcast, we have decided to go with my version of
Shocking. Shocking.
To Katie's point, we were so excited. And as you guys know, part of the huge reason why we're doing this is obviously we're going to share these, as you mentioned, really deep stories. And people are going to talk about their triumphs and their struggles. But we want to get to them as people too, which I feel like has been some of the most enjoyable parts of this whole endeavor for us is when we get to that part of the conversation that, you know, Lily King is telling us that she wants to get bit by a shark, right? Like, like these things that you would just never expect to hear. And it's so wonderful. And we also want you guys to feel like that about us. We want you to feel like when you listen to the podcast every week, you're not only getting to know more about our amazing guests that we have on, but that you're getting to know who Katie and I are away from the sport of swimming as well. So yeah, we have just a total collaboration of questions in there that they range from super silly, super fun to hopefully, you know, helpful as well. We still want it to be insightful and for you to walk away having learned something from this, but I'm really excited.
I'm excited. Who's doing the honors?
You go first. Because
it's my net.
Yeah. she did provide the net.
This is my contribution to this whole thing. So here we go.
Which it's going to be very interesting.
I'm just going to. Okay.
It's a great contribution.
Number 1. Okay, if we could only watch one movie for the rest of our life, what would it be?
Oh, this was one of your husband's questions.
This was shout out Todd for a question. This question.
Oh my gosh. All right, one movie for the rest of my life, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's good.
It would be any of the Harry Potters, but number 4 is just unbeatable in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I have seen the entire series over each movie over 20 times, and I've read the books multiple times.
I was going to ask you about the books too.
Absolute Potterhead.
Wow. Oh, I never heard of that.
Yeah.
Called Potterhead. Yeah, I've read all the books, which I'm not a reader, so that says a lot. Yeah. I would say I went Wedding Crashers because I was like thinking I had a couple deep ones, but then I was like, yeah, but for the rest of my life, like I really want to laugh.
Yes.
You know, so I went Wedding Crashers. It's a classic. I've already seen it like 18 times.
And so quotable.
So quotable. So quotable. So yeah, Wedding Crashers.
I love that. Okay. Yeah,
you're up.
I do love your net. We're just going to just put it right to the side here. So much. I love you. I really love you. Okay. Oh, all right. So this is a great one. Also from Todd. Oh. Who is one person who had a huge impact on your life but would never know it?
Oh, geez. This was the one that I was like, it's going to be really hard to answer. Do you have yours?
This one's hard for me because I hope this isn't tooting my own horn, but I feel like I try and do a really good job of making sure that people that have impact on my life know that they have impact on my life. So it's hard to think of one that maybe wouldn't fully understand, but I think one in particular came to mind. So her name is Cheryl. She's actually a news anchor, and she grew up working with the NBC affiliate 9 News in Colorado, and her and my dad had known each other for years before I was born. But I met her when I was really young. She has got a beautiful family of 4 kids. I've known all of them since they were super little. I wanted to be a journalist growing up. And so I did my career day with her in 8th grade. I remember it was like a blizzard morning in Colorado, and she took me into the 9 News station, and I shadowed her for the day. And then, of course, I started coming up in swimming, and she was the one that was always assigned to be at my meets and my competitions. And she ended up coming to London. And so she was just such a massive part of my life. She's also just like the most godly, kind, beautiful, thoughtful, smart woman I've ever met. I mean, I couldn't look up to her more as a professional, as a mom, as a woman, like just so many things about her. And every time I talk to her, I feel like I just gained so much. In our first solo episode, we talked about mentorship. Yeah. And I feel like she's been one of those mentors to me that I am so unbelievably grateful for. And now she's in Atlanta, and she still works for the NBC affiliate down there doing the news. So if you have heard or know of Cheryl Preheim, that's who I'm talking about. But she's just made an unbelievable impact in my life. And she's still someone who I call to just get thoughts or opinions of, or simply just to talk through things, because her opinion just means the world to me.
I love that. I didn't know that. I feel like so many of these we're not going to know about each other, which is so fun. I went back and forth a little bit. I feel like mine is going to be, his name's Griff Long. So at the time when I was retiring and didn't know what the heck I was going to do, and as we talked about, I was like, I'm staying out of swimming for a little bit. And he kind of was the first person to just bet on me because of who I was in terms of like my work ethic and drive and all those things. Yeah. And he could see beyond. We talked about this too, where it's like, well, you need 5 years experience. It's like, okay, well, how am I going to get 5 years experience if like I don't have 5 years experience?
Yeah, exactly.
And he bet on me and just always believed in me. And I mean, I followed him through a couple of different roles, and he just always believed in me more than I believed in myself in certain moments. He's like, you look what you did in your sport. You can replicate that. Like you can transfer those skills. And it's the first time that I learned that. And I had that confidence that, wow, I can transfer everything I did in the sport to the business world. And so I don't know. I feel like I've thanked him before, but I don't think he realized like how much of an impact he had on my confidence and how much he empowered me to be a strong, confident, business person.
Wow.
So,
and probably at a time in your life where you needed it the most.
Yes, so much. And he was actually a triathlete. He did Ironmans and stuff. So I feel like he saw I was a swimmer, and so he understood what it took to swim in the Olympics and win medals. Yeah. And so I feel like, like he just got it. And at a time where I needed someone to see that in me more than probably ever in my life. Yeah. So.
That's so special. And a great reminder, too, of that question. If someone has made an impact on your life,
tell them.
Give them a call today.
Yeah, I might. We have the same birthday. I always text him on his birthday, but I never I'm going to text him after this. So.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, what do you got next?
Let's see.
I love this.
I do, too.
We should do this with some of our guests.
We should.
Yeah,
so
just
fun.
leave it out.
Ooh, fun one. Our favorite pre-race hype song.
Okay, mine's kind of embarrassing. You go. What's yours?
Oh, mine's going to be like something, I don't know if I have a specific, but it was always like hip hop, like Rick Ross, Future, like.
You're a hip hop girl.
Like explicit for sure. But I just felt like I needed to feel like I was just like a warrior going into a race,
Yeah. This is, again.
I'm so excited.
Our personalities to a T.
This is like when you're like, I'm like, hey, say what's up, guys. You're like, no. You're just like, hi, friends.
All right, so I was a little bit different. So I was so excited to race that if I listened to like pump up music, I was legitimately concerned that I would explode. Like I couldn't add any more like excitement or energy on top of it. So I needed to listen to music that actually calmed me down before I swam. So I would listen to Frank Sinatra.
I knew this.
Yeah.
I knew this.
So
I love that.
Fly Me to the Moon is probably my number one pre-race hype song.
The funny thing is, like you've been like on a camera and you're like locked in and people are like, oh man, what's she listening to?
And in my head, I'm like, fly me to
Could not be more different. I love that. I love that.
Me. I also, to be honest, didn't even listen to music a whole lot because I was such a talker.
You know what? Same.
I was such a ready room talker that I really didn't listen to music a whole lot of the time because that was something that just so helped me get out of my head was just talking to people.
Go to the funniest person, make me laugh, tell a joke. Yes. Like that was my thing too. Like I couldn't, getting in the zone was not a good thing for me.
Yeah. Because then it would I would get a little bit too focused on it versus that you already know what you're here to do. You're going to go out there and you're going to do it. So right now, just try and take a breather.
Just don't think about it.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Oh, so good.
I'm like, I have such suspense every time you go in.
I know. Yeah, we know the questions that are in here, but we have no idea.
We have not.
We're hoping we're going to get to as many of them as we can. But
oh God,
I'm so excited. All right, this one needs some background.
I already know what it is.
Yes. Okay. So, and also let me preface by saying that we do not condemn violence here on the Unfiltered Waters podcast. But hypothetically, there is a conversation going around our friend group right now that is if Katie and I were to get into a physical altercation, who would win? And the best part of all of it is that my husband Hayes thinks that Katie would win.
Yeah.
And Katie's husband Todd thinks that I would win. So the opposite husbands are rooting for the opposite wives. So the question is, who would win in a fight?
Who do you think?
And I wrote in parentheses, Missy.
Oh, you just wrote it? I wrote it myself. All right, I'll give you my take on it. So this is probably going to come up in another question that we have in there, but Missy has a side of her that she can flip a switch, and she is, as my husband likes to call her, edgy Missy.
Edgy Missy.
And edgy Missy comes out, and I've seen it, and I love it so much because it's no one would even know, but like that's how you win gold medals, people. So like it's in there. But mine is more obvious.
Yeah.
Mine is more aggressive and out there. And so I would be the obvious choice, I think, for a lot of people. Like, yeah, obviously Katie. However, I have seen edgy Missy. And edgy Missy is scary. So I actually don't want to say this. If I have to give an answer, I don't want to say not me, but I think it would be tight.
It would be tight, yes.
I think it would be like, I don't know what like my moves would be to counteract your moves. Like I've like thought a little deeper into this, but I think
if I were to leg swipe, what would your next?
I don't know. I feel like I would just like try to tackle you or something.
That's what you would do out of the gate. You would just run,
just right at your legs,
sprint at me.
Yeah, just like unexpected.
You are 100% the obvious choice. I totally agree with that.
Yeah,
you are like so competitive. You are so intense. You are there to win.
Yeah,
like.
But
I do know edgy Missy as well. And edgy Missy. So I think that's a perfect way to say is that it would be close.
Yeah.
I think it would be close.
We'll put it to a vote. Put it to a vote.
We'll put a poll on our socials.
Yeah. Again, I think I think people are going to say me, which I don't know if I love that, but
I think you love
kind of
that.
love it.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we don't have an answer, but 50-50.
It'd be close.
It'd be close. I can't believe that was like picked so fast. Best national team roommate experience.
Oh, that's a great one.
That's a great one. That's a hard one.
I've had some great roommates.
I know.
This isn't national team, but I just have to do a shout out because I think this is one of the most beautiful things about the swimming world is everyone always says that it's such a small world.
Yes.
And just the people that you meet there, the experiences you have together, they all come back to you. So not only did you move to Nashville almost a year ago now, but my first roommate on my very first national junior team trip, which for those of you that don't know, underneath the national team, we have a national junior team. So of course, it's kind of for the younger teenage athletes to get that experience of international competition, representing Team USA. And they're really, really fun trips.
They're really fun.
They're amazing. And you get to make the most amazing friends from all over the country. And it's just incredible. But her name was Aubrey. And she moved to Nashville right before you and Todd did. And Aubrey and I were on that team together, oh my gosh, back in 2009, I think it was. And then saw each other a little bit through college swimming, but then totally went our own ways. And then found out she was coming to Nashville, so I reached out, and now she is one of both of our best friends. Yeah. And I just don't know what I would do without her, and it has been so amazing to have someone, again, so similar to you, that understands that background of swimming, that went through it, that there's so many similarities that you share, but you're coming together again at such a different place in your life. And she just watched Caitlin for us, my daughter, for 3 days while my husband and I could go on a trip to Mexico for one of his best friend's weddings. And I came home and she had taken Caitlin to get flowers and a card for me. Like, it just,
so sweet.
Just amazing. And then I'd say the other fun story that I have roommate wise was I was 13 and it was for Duel in the Pool, which is a competition that the US does against Europe. And it's really, really fun. And we were over in England and
we were on that team. We forget that team. That's a team we haven't mentioned.
I totally forget we were on that team together. And I was 13 and I remember walking into the hotel room. It's my first time traveling internationally, maybe potentially ever, definitely without my parents. My parents weren't there. And I remember the hotel rooms, just like classic European hotel rooms, like the beds were so small. They were right next to each other. Like, and they had our names on the TV when you walked in, like, oh, welcome Missy Franklin. And it said, and welcome Rebecca Sony. And I just remember like my jaw hit the floor. I was like, I'm rooming with Rebecca Sony. Oh my gosh. Like one of the greatest female breaststrokers ever in the sport. Also couldn't be any kinder or sweeter. I was so fortunate to room with her on that trip. But it was one of those just such surreal moments of literally being 13. And next thing I know, I'm in Europe rooming with one of my idols in the sport. Like, just wild.
It's wild. So I always look back on those on those moments, and you're like, we talk about it all the time, but it just for people who aren't in the sport, like imagine like suddenly just like being with your idol, like sleeping with your idol, and like being in the same vicinity, and you're like, how am I supposed to act? What's the playbook here? I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
How do I make them like me?
Yeah, exactly. They just like me. Mine is with, I mean, again, so many moments, but Allison Schmidt was a roommate, obviously dear friend, in my wedding, the best human being on the planet. And she had this ritual she loved getting the itineraries. Like it was like the best. So every day when you're at camp and you're going to the trip, they slide a piece of paper. It's probably like 8-9 p.m. Okay, here's what you're supposed to wear. Here's like the schedule for the day. If you're, all these things. And for some reason, Allison was obsessed with it. Like
it's like her task.
She would hear like the ruffling that they were gonna and she would be like, oh my, and not. She called it itinerary and not itinerary. And so she'd be like, the itinerary's here. And I'm like, oh my God. So every day she got so happy, and like she's just anyone who knows Allison knows she's like a joy just in the world. She's so funny, but true. I just remember like every day I was actually having a tough meet. It was 2011 World Championships, and her excitement about a piece of paper just made the trip for me. So that's my story.
And I'm so excited to have both her and Elizabeth Beisel on, because her and Beisel were notorious for pulling pranks.
Yes.
On national team trips.
Yes.
And I cannot wait to share some of these stories with you guys.
It's going to be
the best.
Well, one of them is, we won't tell it now, but one of them, she'll tell it, I got blamed for. And I took the hit in 2008 because she was pranking Michael up and down so bad. And Michael was just furious at me. And I was like, Schmitty, are you going to speak up, or am I just going to keep taking his wrath?
Let you take it.
Just kept going. I'm like, all right. And finally, I was like, this is a true friend right here, because he has hated me for a week now because he thinks I'm doing all these ridiculous things to him.
And also, no matter how much Schmitty's pranking you, you still can't help but love her.
No.
So
she's smiling, laughing. You're like, all right.
We have both been very blessed with amazing roommate experiences.
Yes, so fun.
And so many of them that have remained close friends to this day.
Absolutely.
Which is so special. And some that you may have never expected, like each other.
I know.
All right, let's see. What do we have next? Oh, this one's fun too. Our favorite restaurant or the best meal that we've had here in Nashville.
You know what I'm going to say.
I know what you're going to say, so go ahead.
You're like almost annoyed by it. Because
I mean, I agree with it. But I just think the amount of times that
it's too much. So there's this place called NoCo. It's right down the road. It's in East Nashville. And I feel like the best way to describe it is like Asian fusion. Yeah. But they just have everything. I also feel like the vibe of the restaurant is you don't have to get super dressed up, but it's still incredible food. And I mean, you're the one who started it all. Missy made the reservation. We got in, and then the owner is fantastic, and so has said, "Hey, text me whenever you guys want to go back." And so Todd and I have.
Anytime anyone comes into town,
like
Katie and Todd are like, NoCo, let's go.
And you're like, what are you doing tonight? We're going to NoCo. Sorry. It's so if you're in Nashville and you love it, I mean, there's like truffle grilled cheese sandwiches. There's crab fried rice. There's something for everyone.
It's so good. And I feel like we both love Asian fusion food.
Yes.
So that's amazing. Could not recommend that one more. All right. Let me think. This one's so tough.
Yeah, I don't know how you're going to pick.
I know. Well, this one's a little sentimental too. So for our anniversary dinner last September, and Hayes actually booked this for us, we went to a restaurant called Yolan, and we did their tasting menu. And so I think like those experiences are always really cool because especially as parents, like meals are a little bit chaotic now. They're a little bit rushed. You're trying to get your toddler to eat. You're trying to eat. Like there's not really a whole lot of time. We try as hard as we can to make dinner time a time to connect for like the three of us as a family, to sit down and be like, Kate, tell us about school. Like, how was your day? And now it's so cool because she's like answering us and telling us. Yes. But it's still just like a little bit different. And so when we can go and just like take our time at a restaurant and just like sit there together and enjoy we really appreciate that. And I think food for us and that quality time and those experiences, like we kind of put that as like, that's something that we feel really good about like investing in for us, because we feel like it brings us closer together. We love sharing that experience. So we went to a restaurant called Yolan, did their full tasting menu. It was like 8 courses. Hayes did the wine pairing, and it was just incredible. They do different regional foods from France.
Oh, that's cool.
But it's phenomenal. So every course we had was so good. So that's a very special occasion, I would say. And then our other favorite, which we just went to, is actually in downtown Franklin, which if you're ever in Nashville and you get a chance to go to historic downtown Franklin, could not recommend it more. It's so cute. They've got shops, they've got so many restaurants, but there's an Italian restaurant down there called Colacino.
Okay.
And
I
it
need to
is
try that.
phenomenal. Again, a little bit of something for everyone. They've got pizzas and pastas, but also I think I did their roasted chicken. They've got fish. I mean, just everything. So that would definitely be a good one for me too. And then I didn't put this one in the fishbowl, but we did have one of our Instagram questions was our favorite dessert in Nashville.
In Nashville specifically?
Yes.
Jeez. I feel like what did we have at Kane Prime?
For dessert?
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Oh my gosh, I don't remember.
You go and I'll keep thinking.
Okay. So I think my favorite, I don't know where else it is. It's so classic, but I love really good ice cream. And it's just Jenny's ice cream.
Oh.
Like Jenny's is so good. And I feel like their flavors are always, and there's something too about like, again, taking your toddler to like go and get ice cream. That's just like, you're just making core memories as a family. So I would say Jenny's, but there's also, it's called Coco's, and it's totally plant-based ice cream. And that's a really, really good spot too. So if you're plant-based or not, the ice cream is amazing. And
Coco's?
Yes. And it's in this little area called One City, and they've got beach volleyball courts there. So it's and kind of like an outdoor bar vibe. So it's a really cool place to just go, and you can watch people play volleyball and have some ice cream, and it's super fun.
You really need to start your blog. Like people who, I think we mentioned this with like Alex or Gretchen Walsh, but Missy has like a full on like note, like what is that? Like a shared note of every possible genre experience you want of all the restaurants. And if you're lucky enough to get added to the note, like you're really lucky. So you really do need to start like people.
I know. I want to start sharing more on socials.
Yeah. Well, because it's not like you're just go here. You're like, okay, what kind of mood are you in? Like, what's the experience? Like you add that aspect to it, which is very helpful. So I remembered it. It's like I don't have the name of it, but it's like a s'more dessert. Do you remember? We got it like right before Christmas.
Yes.
It's like just like this s'more like roll. Like it was just anything s'mores.
I was going to say, we also have to preface the fact that you and s'mores are a match made in heaven.
I am.
So anything s'more, but Kane Prime is probably all of our favorite steakhouse here in Nashville.
Agreed.
And you cannot go wrong with that. And anything they have is going to be to die for.
I'm starving.
I know. And with that, we're done. We're going to go eat. As Olympians and elite athletes, Katie and I definitely understand the importance of sleep and recovery. But now, just as a mom, as a professional, as podcast host, we still understand that sleep is so, so important. And we are incredibly thankful to one of our sponsors, Dream Recovery, for creating such incredible and impactful products that are science-backed to help you get the optimal night's sleep.
My favorite product is the Pink Dream Tape. I have not stopped wearing it since I put it on my mouth 6 months ago. It helps me fall asleep faster and gives me the best night's sleep I've ever had.
And for those of you that are a little hesitant about mouth taping, they just released mouth strips. So it's a little strip as opposed to the full tape. It has all the same benefits as a full piece of tape, but it's a little bit more of a segue for those who are a little bit nervous or are wanting to try out something. And I have been loving those.
So we've got a special code for you. It's code Unfiltered for 30% off your order and 50% off your first month subscription of Dream Tape. Sweet dreams.
Good night.
Oh, man. Most embarrassing story moment in an international competition.
Cool. Love this one.
Do you have it?
I do. Yeah. It's
I've
not
got a
horrible.
couple.
Not shocked by that. I feel like I fared. I'm gonna go first because yours are gonna be better than mine. No. Mine was just cringe. It wasn't terribly embarrassing. It was just super cringe. Not that was a thing at the time, but now it's the perfect way to describe it. So it was at Worlds in 2011.
Oh.
Yeah. So we were in Shanghai. It was an indoor competition. And I was heading over, and it was the finals of my 200 backstroke that night. And I went in for warm-ups. I went super early because I always needed a ton of time to warm up, and I never wanted to feel rushed. So I got there and went to the warm-up pool and went to the team area, and there's no one there because I'm like one of the first people there. And I, go through my bag to get my practice suit, and I totally forgot my practice suit for warm-ups.
Oh, no.
And for those that aren't swimmers, our competition suits are not comfortable.
No.
They are not something that you just leisurely wear the entire session. So we warm up in our practice suits. We change into our competition suits. The second we're done, we get out of our competition suit and back into our practice suit. And that's also just how they're meant to be worn too, because you don't want to wear them thin. You want to wear them as little as possible so that they keep the material and the water slides off and all of that. And so I didn't have a practice suit, and there was no one there that would have extra practice suits. So I start going around to different countries, different team areas. I'm like, does anyone have a different practice suit? And, granted, I'm, different countries have different body types, and I'm, 6'2" and muscular, and I go over to Australia, and I'm like, hey guys, do you, and so there was the sweetest swimmer there, very petite. Oh no. And she had a 2-piece. And that was the only thing that I
oh my gosh.
So I did my full warm up as a 16-year-old in this little Australian 2-piece bikini. Mortified out of my mind. Out of my mind.
You gotta do.
Yep.
Oh.
Also, I'm so pale. I'm practically translucent. So that really didn't add to the overall aesthetic of the look. But
I wish that I remembered that.
Thank God I don't think you were there.
No, I feel like I would have definitely remembered that.
There's no forgetting that.
Oh my God. That's not cringe. That's kind of wow, did what you had to do,
Yeah. You
get
figure it out. You
Yeah.
just figure it out.
Don't you want to know one of mine?
I'm so excited.
So this was actually in 2004, so I'm 15, and everything about anything I did, I was just always freaking out because I felt like I had a target on my back of, that feeling
Yes.
anything I do, people are gonna be like, oh, she's too young, or she's, and so we were in, where were we? We were in, not Singapore, but we were in Mallorca for training camp. Beautiful. And they had these really in between the kind of the warm-up pool and one of the other pools that was usually a competition pool, there's really big glass walls, really glass, really, really clean, really clean. So I was in a rush because I wanted to get behind the boxes, and I just I thought it was air, but it was the wall. I just ran into it. I just straight up, those videos of that, just right into it. Everyone was around.
That is so
really
hurt
my nose. So that's one of them.
I love you so much for that. Okay, we're hearing the other one. You're not getting away scot-free.
Well, I've done this a couple times. I think you're when you actually back to the swimsuit story, you don't want to wear your racing suit all the way up over your shoulders.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times I would keep it halfway.
Yeah. So you essentially would put on a 2-piece top or put on a practice suit over, and you would just pull the shoulder straps down off your shoulders because it's so tight and so much pressure on your shoulders that, again, the second you're done competing, you want to take it off so you can kind of release that.
But sometimes you don't have the 2-piece top on.
So you just...
And you forget. So I've done that twice. Once was actually as an age grouper.
You just literally just took your suit down.
No, my suit was halfway because I was going to go into the locker room and change it before I went for warm-ups. But I was just forgot. And so I just took off my top. Then there was nothing there. So I did that younger. But then I did that again in 2004, with the coaches around. Safe sport violation for sure. But just forgot because thinking oh, I'm just going to, I'm going to go under and I'm going to pull it up. But was just too, in the moment, too excited about what was about to happen, swimming practice, and just Took it off. Nothing there. So nothing there in general. But yeah, those are probably my 2 worst.
Those are great.
Yeah.
Those are great. We're here. We lived.
We made it
learned.
through, you know?
Yeah.
And I honestly, Jesse Itzler talks about this, who's like a mentor and someone I look up to, is like getting rid of, like, basically says like you can't be fearful of being embarrassed.
Yeah.
And so if you get those out of the way early on in life, like, I really don't think I care about being embarrassed anymore.
I love it. And it reminds me of Carson too.
Yeah.
His not word.
Unembarrassable.
Unembarrassable. Just live life unembarrassable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So
So good. All right, let's see. What do we have next? Oh, this is a good one. This is from my husband.
oh,
You have tied in a race and you have to do a swim off.
I love your suspenseful talk right now.
Instead of a race, you have to do a sing off karaoke style.
God.
What song do you choose? And then perform the full length version. Just kidding.
Yeah. I feel like you know.
I have mine. But you
don't
know
have
what
mine.
it is because you've also actually seen me do this in karaoke.
I have?
Yeah.
It wasn't No, you did it. You danced it.
Well, remember we had to do,
Oh,
going back, this was also for Worlds 2011.
I think I know.
Rookie skits.
Yep.
We had changed it that year to do karaoke. So I also did a dance to OMG Usher after
Yes.
this because clearly it wasn't
can we
enough
get
for me to
video
just
for
do
that?
karaoke. But I did it with 3 or 4 other teammates and we did Man, I Feel Like a Woman by Shania Twain.
right.
And that is just one that I can put my heart and soul and mind into. I remember like my hair was up and I like took it out of the pony and started like hairography. Like something came over me in that moment. So something about Shania and karaoke just hits for me.
Yeah.
So that would be it.
You crushed it. I remember.
But thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We need to do that.
I know.
We need to like go do karaoke.
Karaoke would
It'd
actually be
fun.
super fun. Yeah.
Mine is probably something Backstreet Boys. Probably I Wanted That Away.
Yeah.
Todd serenaded me to that at our wedding. Yeah.
No, he did.
Randomly. Like it came on and then he like did a whole thing. And I also just love Backstreet Boys. So I think it would be I Wanted That Away.
I love it. That's
Yeah.
a perfect one.
Yeah.
I miss them.
Me too.
No.
Yeah. All right,
So
cool.
good.
I like that one. All right.
I wonder which one of us would win that.
Would win that?
Yeah. Again,
What's
it'd
like
be close.
define winning? Like is it like the best like carrying a tune?
Oh, then no. No,
Then
neither one.
Then no. Or is it like the best like theatrics? Like you really just own the stage?
Theatrics. Again, I think it'd be a close call.
I think it would be a close call.
Yeah.
I might give you the edge.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't wanna
I've seen
say
you in
that.
a music video before. So
Okay, moving on. We're not. Favorite meal, pre and post meet.
this was a question we actually got a lot of. There were a ton of
Yeah,
food
there are a lot of
questions,
there are a lot of food questions.
which I love. And on the nutrition side of things, just so our wonderful listeners know, one of our intentions too is like we're hoping to bring on professionals in
Yeah.
those separate spaces, in the psychology space, in the nutrition space, in the sleep space, and have entire episodes that are just totally dedicated to that. So definitely stay tuned for that because the nutrition one is going to be huge.
Huge.
We're really excited to get into that with you guys. I think for me, a pre-meat meal, I would almost always do chicken parm. Almost always.
Out
I
of
loved it.
superstition, a little.
I
or-
think so.
Okay.
And 9 times out of 10, really 10 times out of 10, my mom would come to every single competition with us and we would stay in like the residence inns that had the kitchen.
Yep.
And so she would actually make it for me. And
That's
so,
amazing.
yeah, my mom is the best cook in the world and her chicken parm is absolutely to die for. So she would make that for me pretty much before every single competition. And
I
so I
love
had
that.
a ton of nostalgia around that one too.
What did you do at the games?
I mean, games, you just do what you can.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's another misconception is that you go into the Olympic Village and that the dining hall is just
Perfectly laid out.
elaborate and fantastic. And London, it was amazing. London, they did a really good job. It was so cool. They had different food stations from all over the world in different countries. Rio was very different. I think I literally just ate chicken and rice.
Yeah.
For legit the full 8 days. I remember when we went to Shanghai for Worlds, we had to be careful over there, and our team nutritionist was super helpful, but they brought stuff just to the team room. So I think a lot of us were literally just having
Power
peanut butter
bars,
and
yeah.
banana sandwiches
Yeah.
and and just all of that. But if I could have that option, my mom was there. It was always chicken parm before.
I love that.
Yeah.
I feel like mine was like very basic before. Like I loved salmon, I loved chicken, like rice, baked potato, like nothing frilly. I just wanted it to feel like settled.
Yes.
And then like when we say post, do you think they mean like post?
I think they want
done?
the cheat
Oh,
meal
nice.
at the end of the competition. Yeah. Which I also, by the way, don't love that saying. So I'm sorry that I said that. Cheat meal.
How about
The enjoyment meal after the
there
competition.
There you go.
Yeah.
I actually was very big on this. Like on day one of getting to the meet, I would find something like something on a menu and being like, okay, at the end of the meet, I'm getting this. Like if I think it was
that.
like one time I don't, it's fine. One time there was like this turtle cheesecake and I really wanted motivation. So I like stole the menu so that I could put the picture of turtle cheesecake in my hotel room, and that was like what drove me the whole meet, and then I was so amped to eat it at the end.
Okay, see, like same thing with me listening to Frank Sinatra. People are looking at you before your race going, oh my, she's so intense right now. And literally you're thinking about the picture of the turtle cheesecake from the menu that you stole.
Just so pumped about it.
Okay, but that does sound so good.
So good.
For me, it was never even a specific meal because like you said, it was totally dependent on where we were. It was just doing it with my teammates.
Yeah.
Like it was so fun going out to dinner with my teammates at the end of a competition and just going to a restaurant and just celebrating.
Yes.
And that was the cool part too, is really no matter how well or poorly that competition was for you, it was still just a moment to kind of sit back and reflect and appreciate the work that went into it, regardless of how the results turned out, and also be happy for who it did go well for.
Yeah.
Like it was just super special. What is your favorite enjoyment meal in general?
I feel like pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you like
I don't
Emmy Squared in Nashville, right?
I like Emmy Squared, but I don't like so people don't know what that is. There's one in New York. There's one here. It's more like
Chicago style?
not quite deep dish because I like to say like Chicago style to me is lasagna. Yeah. But like no offense to anyone who loves that. But I feel like I love Urban Cowboy, which is like very thin crust.
Yeah.
Like it just feels light, but they have really unique, like they have like a honey sriracha. Like they're just like very unique flavors. And so I would say, yeah, like anything. That's a Saturday night. We're sitting there, like we're either going there or ordering it.
And now I'm hungry again.
Yeah, again.
So
why are we on that?
I know. There's a thin crust New York style pizza place that was literally, next to my neighborhood growing up in Colorado. And it's called Big Bill's.
Ooh.
And Bill was, just the most amazing human being you've ever met. Oh. And it is still to this day my favorite pizza ever. Like I just absolutely love it. But I think now my favorite enjoyment meal is anything sushi.
Yeah.
I could eat raw fish every day. Absolutely no problem. So just give me, which of course is like the most expensive thing on the menu.
But it's
like
so
I'll just take
good.
100 pieces of sashimi, please.
Like that will be $1,000. Thank you.
I love it. I love sushi.
It's so good.
And Asian fusion.
Yeah.
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 So good.
So good.
Is it my turn? Your turn?
It's your turn.
My turn.
Yeah.
So exciting. We may not get through all of them.
I know.
We'll need another episode. Our favorite city that we've ever traveled to with our sport and why?
I have to say Melbourne, Australia. It's because in Australia, like swimming is bigger than basketball, football, soccer. Like I just feel like the athletes are so respected. And I also just feel like everyone there is maybe it's just where I was, but it was just in such a good mood. Like I just feel like everyone's like very pleasant and nice, and obviously I have good memories being there, but I just think that I just love the vibe and the energy.
Do you relate how you swam in a competition to how you view like your experience in that country as a whole?
That's what I'm saying. Like I loved that meet. I was trying to think, actually trying to challenge myself with that of like, okay, like what's a city that you went that you maybe you didn't swim well and is still really cool. But I feel like within the US I've had, because we've been around so long, I feel like I've had really positive experiences at a city, but really bad ones. Yeah. So like I feel like it balances it out. If I had to pick US, I would say, I love Irvine. Yeah. Irvine, California is just like
such a great
the best. And I've had I had my blood clot there, but then I also have broken American records there. So I feel like it's like a fair view of that. But yes, it definitely taints it.
Oh, gosh. Something, because that's why I thought of Australia, because the 2 meets that I've had in Australia, I swam horrible. Horrible. So I love Australians, and I'm sure it's a beautiful country, but every time I think of Australia, I just get sad. Like, I'm just like, oh man.
Yeah, it affects it.
I know. My favorite is Barcelona.
Okay.
I love Barcelona. I love the city, the culture, the people. And it was never really big meets there. It was always just part of a series called Mare Nostrum that you would stop in. But that pool had like a retractable roof. So there was a gelato spot right down the street that we would stop in. So Barcelona is one of my favorite. I love the architecture and just everything.
Yeah.
And then, nationally, oh my gosh. I would say IUPUI. Is actually one of my favorites. That's in Indianapolis, and it's actually really cool coming up this summer.
Yeah.
So they're doing Olympic trials in Lucas Oil Stadium, which is going to be wild.
Epic.
Because for the last 3 Olympic trials, it's been in Omaha, Nebraska, and that has, I think, 13,000 seats. They are building 3 pools and putting them in the bottom of Lucas Oil Stadium, and there's going to be 33,000 seats. And it's just going to be unreal. But at the same time that Olympic trials is going on, they're also going to have U.S. Masters championships at IUPUI.
Oh, I think I did know that. That's so cool.
That's going to be really fun too, because you're going to have just swimmers of all ages, all levels there supporting one another. And I've just had some great memories at IUPUI, which we call Ooey Pooey.
Ooey Pooey.
Yeah.
I love, I have such good memory. I mean, I have bad ones too, but overwhelmingly good. Yeah. And the city's great for it too. Like there's good restaurants and hotels, and I'm so excited for that.
I know. I can't wait.
It's so fun. All right. Let me tell. Suspense. Our favorite and this could be a long answer. Our favorite and hardest part of retirement.
Oh, favorite and hardest. No, this was a question that came in.
Wow, this is a good question.
I know, I really liked it. All right, my favorite part about retirement, which I am 5 years into now at this point, it's still a novelty to me to wake up every day and choose how I'm going to move my body. And I love that. Yeah. I loved swimming. I loved getting in the water. Not every day. I'm human. There was days I did not want to get up and go to practice, but 9 times out of 10, I loved it. But it's really cool for me, I think, to have that control over my own life. Because even when I was training, it was like, it doesn't matter if I felt great or if I was exhausted to the bone. I was doing the workout that was laid out. Yeah. Like that's just how it works. Whereas now I think I've really been able to tune into myself and my body and like learn self-trust for the first time, which I'm still totally working on, because I get to wake up and maybe I wake up and Kate's had a great night and she hasn't woken up yet and I'm feeling awesome, and I do a run or I do a really hard bike on the Peloton or I get a great lift in. Or there's some days where I wake up and maybe Kate's been up a couple times in the night, or for whatever reason I'm just exhausted and sore, and I can do bar or Pilates or yoga or something low impact, and like just that freedom, and then getting to explore and try so many different kinds of working out has been so fun, because the first 2 decades plus of my life, I didn't get to do that. And so now it's so fun to like try a different class or do something new and different, because that's all I have to do that day. Yeah. So I really like that. And then hardest part, gosh, being a part of a team. Yeah. For sure. I miss being a part of a team so much. And you actually took me to a workout class here in Nashville at a place called H-Dub. And that was the first time I've done any kind of like team workout since I retired. And oh my gosh, did I miss it. Like even just being partnered with you for stuff was like so fun to have that partner there to push you and just know that you're in it with them. Like I really, really miss being a part of a team. Yeah. Those are good.
My favorite part, I'm like trying to like think while you're talking. I'm like, I need to have an answer. My favorite part, I think, is just, especially towards the end of your career, you've done so much in terms of like best times don't happen every time you get up, you know? And I think it gets really hard towards the end to find the same level of excitement because you've done it, or you're like, oh my God, how am I going to top this? It just becomes almost like there's a weight, I felt like. And so now there's so many things that I'm not good at. I'm not great at running. I'm not great at doing power cleans. I'm not great at doing...
Not great at running. You ran 2 marathons.
I'm solid at running. But I just feel like there's this level of excitement in the air where there's so many things that you can go out and do and get better, and you don't know what's going to happen. And so I think that piece is really exciting for me. And then I think the hardest, oh my gosh, there's so many. The hardest part, I think, is just, like that collective group of people that are going after something so extraordinary of being the best in the world. You know, like that's really hard to recreate. And I've stopped trying to recreate it because it's so special and so unique, and other things fill up my cup now. But there's nothing like being on Team USA and being on a relay or like seeing your teammate break a world record and you're like, all right, now I got to do it. You know, like there's something so magical about that. And so I will always miss that.
Always.
Yeah.
And you can't recreate it. And
no.
It's okay.
And that's okay.
We're so fortunate for the experiences that we had. Yeah. And I feel like now with our hindsight, like you just grow to appreciate them more and more.
Yep. 100%.
All right, let's see. How's our time looking?
Yeah, how's our time?
Got 5 more minutes? Should we do 2 more?
Yeah.
Okay. Our most influential coach and why?
Our most influential coach. I'll give 2. One, I would say for knowing me physically better than anyone's ever known me. I would say like Paul Yetter, like had very good instincts in terms of like when he needed to back off, when he needed to push, the types of workouts to do. Like, I mean, I swam under him for 2 Olympic teams. And so I feel like he really understood where he could push in that way.
And give context. Where was Paul? Where were you training with him?
Yes, thank you. So I was training at North Baltimore Aquatic Club in Maryland. Okay. So from ages just turned 14 to 19. Okay. So 6 years of my life. In terms of just a mentor emotionally, mentally, it's a tie between John Urbanchek and Jack Roach. Just because they're just wise old owls at this point. They didn't used to be old, but they're just like anyone who's met them, they're just the Yodas of swimming, and they just make you feel seen and understood. And
They care about you as a person.
They care about you as
so
a
much.
person. Yes. So those 2 will always have a special place in my heart.
I love that. Such good answers. I'm going to do 2 as well. It's hard to pick just one. Very obvious one is Todd Schmitz.
Yeah.
So that was the coach that I was with from literally age 7 to 17, which you do not see that often.
Very rare.
My first day as, a 7-year-old on Colorado Stars as a starfish was Todd's first day as a coach, as a part of Stars. And we literally went from that to the London Olympics and 4 gold medals together. So that was pretty special. I think we just had this unbelievable trust in one another. Neither one of us had done it before. And we just had this trust in each other that we were going to figure it out and adjust and keep doing what was best for one another. And so I grew up with him, essentially. And so grateful. I went back and trained with him for 2016 as well. And that was definitely different because training with him at 2021 versus 17 was really different. And I learned so much through that, but particularly how much more I needed to be communicating with him. I think when you're younger, it's okay for your coaches to have a little bit more say in the training and what's best for you. And as you get older, you learn for yourself what your body needs and how your body operates. And so you need to communicate that as much as you can with your coaches, because it's almost like in relationships, right? We say that, your partner can't read your mind as much as you often want them to. So it's even something with Hayes that I still work on of like, I need to tell him, if I need something or if I want something, and actually like voice what I'm thinking so that he knows and then, can adjust or help because I know that he wants to. And same thing with a coach, they want the best for you and they want you to succeed. And so if you're feeling like something's not working or you need to adjust something, communicating that. Yes. And I know those are hard conversations, but they're so, so important. So yes, definitely Todd is huge. And then the other one I would say is Dave Durden. And I wasn't with Dave for long, but I've talked about it on the podcast before of just, he really took me in when I was broken. I mean, just physically and mentally, all aspects of me were just broken when I swam with Dave, and he understood that without me having to say anything. And I think he knew in that moment his job was not to get me back to Missy Franklin. It was just to get me back to Missy. And he did that every day. It was just fun. It was enjoyable. If I needed to take a day off, there were no questions asked. Like, it was just, I felt so safe swimming with Dave. And I'm so grateful for that, because I think if it weren't for him, I probably would have just immediately quit after Rio. And even though I never had the comeback that I wanted to, I don't think I would have ever forgiven myself if I had left the sport without at least trying. And I probably wouldn't have tried if it wasn't for Dave.
Yeah. I feel like you have different coaches for different seasons of your career.
Yeah.
And like each one serves a purpose in that moment. I don't know Dave super well, but every single person I've talked to, he's like an angel from above, and
essentially
saves so many people. So that's incredible.
All right, final question.
What's it going to be? There's
Get a good one
that I really wanted, but
I mean, you can just ask it if we don't get to it.
Okay. Because I want to say it to you anyway. Okay. If we could have been a pro in another sport, what would it be and why?
Easy. Beach volleyball.
Oh, that was going to be mine.
I love it.
I love beach volleyball.
Love beach volleyball. We also got asked our favorite sports to watch. That one is one for me, for sure. So, at the Olympics. Yeah. It's amazing. And manifesting that maybe one day we'll have some beach volleyball players on the podcast. But
I feel like it's just like I got to watch Carrie Walsh and Misty May Trainer in 2008 in the final against China.
Were you there? Like, you actually got to watch it?
Oh, yeah. It was epic. Like, it was just, they were just like the energy, and like I remember it even started raining. It was like a movie. It was just like so dramatic, and like it was really close. And then I just love they high five so often. It like just seems so fun.
Yes, and like so natural. Again, there's like team aspect
and they just look so cool doing it too. Like, I don't feel like I could look as cool when I high five. Like, I don't know, I just love it.
I don't know if you could either.
But I've accepted it.
Okay, I'm going to ask it because I know exactly the question that you want to be asked.
Yeah.
Is that, what do you admire the most about the other person?
I want to hype you up a little bit.
Yeah, I love the best.
Okay. So the question, did you say it? I didn't even hear you. So basically the question, what do you admire most about the other person? This is something that Todd created question. We asked Hayes and Todd, and they both gave amazing questions. Mine, I think, or I know, is just your ability to stay so calm and caring no matter what. You know, like we joke about the edgy Missy, like you feel all the same feelings, right? Of frustration or, you know, anger about something, or something's not going your way or whatever, but you keep this control, and you're able to stay kind and kind of think outside of yourself when those emotions hit. And that's something that like was one of, I don't say a greatest flaw, but something I work on so much, to stay in that and be like, okay, there's a lot more going on right now. Like, these people need me to stay kind and stay so loving. And I just have watched you do that with Hayes, with Kate, with your friends. And I just think it's so admirable.
Thank you. That means so much. Yeah. And I know we're both working on just saying thank you after compliments.
I know.
Too, that's
good
really
job.
Tough. So thank you. It means so much coming from you. And I think for you, it kind of, another question that we had is a misconception that we had about the other person. And those two kind of tied in with me, is that one of my and I don't even know if it's a misconception, but I talked about this in like our trailer episode, I think, that particularly when we were swimming, you know, I was always a little bit intimidated by you, because you were so talented. You were so competitive. Like, you were just this force to be reckoned with. And I think what I admire most about you is you've shown me that you can be both, that you can be that force, and you can also be a sensitive, genuine, kind, compassionate human being. Like, you don't have to choose between those two things. And so it's something that, like, especially as a fellow woman, like, getting to sit here and see you like just go out and like fight and like know your worth and know your value, but communicate it in a way that is still so respectful. And like, it's amazing for me. And I feel like I've learned so much from you just in the time that we've reconnected, and that like you can be so confident in who you are and what you're capable of doing, and also be humble and kind and really respectful of everyone that you're working with and everyone that's around you.
Jeez. And tears.
And that's the end of Missy and Katie amping each other up.
Well, thank you. That means a lot.
Of course. I mean it. And this has been so fun. We clearly still have plenty of questions that we didn't get to. So we'll definitely do another solo episode like this again. And we'll bring this out. Even if we have repeat guests, I feel like this would be a really fun thing to do when we have people on for second and third times. So thank you all so much for listening. This is so fun. I learned stuff about Katie that I didn't know. So hopefully you guys learned things about us that you were unsure of before. But as always, your support of both Katie and myself and Unfiltered Waters and everything that we're doing here just means the absolute world. We're clearly having a blast with it. And just knowing that you guys are there every step of this journey is more meaningful than you'll ever know. So thank you guys so much. And we will see you next Wednesday.
Thank you so much for listening and watching Unfiltered Waters. We are so grateful for your support. If you could please hit that subscribe button on any of the channels that you're watching, and maybe even give us a rating or review, we would appreciate it so much. Thank you again, and we'll talk to you soon.